Man, I really want to improve my English, but I just don't have anyone to practice with. Swear to God, if I had just $1 for every time I heard somebody say those words, or every time I read that shit in one of the comments on my videos, I would never have to work again. I would be a rich man. I'd be buying fucking real estate and Porsches and taking world trips, first class. I'd never work again. I would have millions of dollars. I swear to God, man, it's probably the most common comment made by people learning English. I imagine people learning other languages too, but certainly people learning English. The most frequent comment on my videos online, the most frequently said thing in conversations about learning English, it's just, I want to learn, I want to practice, I want to improve, but there's just no one to practice with. I don't live in an English speaking country, is what they say, right? And yet somehow they do nothing but consume content in English all day, every day. You know what I mean? I don't see the logic here. I don't see the logic here. Now, before I do what I normally do, which is give you a verbal ass kicking and some tough love, which you most likely need if you clicked on this episode. Before I do that, I am going to give you what you came looking for, because you most likely identified with the title, I need friends to practice my English. Because like I said, 95% of people learning English say this at some point, and then they use it as an excuse for not improving. So you might have identified with the title and clicked on it thinking, oh, he's going to tell me where I can find people to practice English with. He's got exactly what I need. And I do, my friend. All right. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm going to give you what you came looking for. And then I am going to give you a bit of a verbal ass kicking. Because if you clicked on this fucking episode, you probably need it. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the good part first. I'm going to give you the dessert before the veggies. Different apps that you can use to find native and non-native speakers to practice your English with. Number one, in no particular order, by the way. Number one, HelloTalk. 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 Now, this one I've actually used for many years in the past. Some of my closest friends I met on HelloTalk, and they really helped me become proficient in the language I was learning at the time. So, I mean, I always have to recommend this one because I had lots of success on HelloTalk. You can talk via text, voice message, voice call, and video call on this platform. There's even online chat rooms where you can enter and talk to multiple people via voice at the same time, which is pretty cool. And it's completely free. I think there's a VIP or premium version that you can pay for, but I don't really know what you get in exchange for that monthly payment. I don't know what the extra features are. All I know is I never needed them to find people and talk to people. So download HelloTalk. It's completely free. I'm not being paid to mention any of these either. It's because I've actually used them and had success with them. So download HelloTalk. Give it a try. Number two, Tandem. TAN, like November or Nancy or nothing. TANE. I'm fucking it up. TANDEM. M like Monday or Matthew or March. Tandem. And this is very similar to HelloTalk. You can talk to people via text, voice message, voice call, video call. They also have the online chat rooms where you can talk via voice to multiple people at the same time. I've used Tandem a lot more recently than HelloTalk, but they're essentially the same thing. You're going to find the same type of people on both apps. You know what I mean? Also free with the option to purchase the premium plan. I don't know what you get in exchange for that, but I've never needed it. The third option, Lingbe, LIN as in Nancy, GBE, Lingbe, all one word. And I've used this one a couple of times a few years ago, and I really liked the concept because there was essentially no texting, no voice messages, no video calls. It was just voice calls. So what happens is you create a profile, you open the app and you click online, and then you can click call. And when you click call, it's going to find somebody in the world who's also online and actively looking for a phone call. Then it connects both of you. And once you get connected, you can just fucking hey. What was I saying? Once you get connected, then you just talk to this person via voice. as long as you want. I think there was a time limit on it. And the cool thing about that app is the more time you spend talking in your native language to a foreigner, basically helping them learn, the more virtual coins you get. And so the more virtual coins you get, the longer you can talk to somebody in the foreign language you're trying to learn. So you have to help somebody, and then you get this form of currency, and you use that currency to pay for a phone call in the language you're trying to learn. That was a very cool concept because it kind of solves the problem of those selfish, greedy individuals that are really only interested in you helping them, and they never really had any intention of helping you. It kind of solves that problem because if you haven't been helping people on that platform, you don't have any of those little coins, which means you can't, quote unquote, purchase or buy time to talk in the foreign language you want to learn. But with all three of those apps, actually, there's one more before I make that point. There's also Discord, which is a great option as well. And for those of y'all that don't know, Discord is like a bunch of different communication apps rolled into one. And you can talk via text, voice message, voice call, video call, etc. But it's more community based. So you have a server, which is like an online community. And inside that server, you have a bunch of different channels, which are like different chat rooms based on particular subjects. So there's a channel for basketball, a channel for Netflix series, a channel for crime stories, and you can talk only about that subject on that channel with other people that are interested in that subject. So it's pretty cool because the idea of community means that you see the same people again and again. It's a much more familiar environment where there's a higher chance you make friends and keep them. Whereas on the other three apps, you may never talk to the same person twice unless you message them privately and y'all form some kind of relationship, you know? But getting back to what I was saying, with all four of those apps, the main problem is not the app itself. The main problem is not finding people to talk to. The main problem is finding somebody that you not only connect with, but that you can maintain a relationship with, you know? And that's what we're about to get into now. Now I'm going to give you a bit of a verbal ass kicking that I think a lot of people unfortunately still need. So you got 4 apps that you can use: HelloTalk, Tandem, Lingbee, and Discord. 4 apps that are completely free, and there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of native and non-native speakers that you can practice your English with every day of the week without paying a single dollar. Now, getting on to the issue. The issue with all this, the reason that people keep saying, I wish I could improve my English, but I don't have anyone to practice with. I don't live in an English-speaking country, right? The reason people keep saying this is not because it's an actual problem. And even if it is a problem, it has a fucking solution. I just told you 4 of them, right? But the real solution is what we're about to get into, because it's really a twofold problem. One thing is not under your control and the other one is. So let's start with what's not under your control. What's not under your control is what the other person in the interaction does. So even if you get on these apps, you make a profile and you send message after message after message after message after message after fucking message, there's a chance that nobody responds. It's just what it is, especially if you're not physically attractive, you know, because unfortunately, a lot of people do use these apps like dating apps. So if you're not attractive, and the first thing people see is your name and your picture, and you don't send the most fascinating first message, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I can't really change that. It's just the way of the world on most apps, not just these language exchange apps, right? It just is what it is. So if you're not one of those people, there's a chance that just nobody fucking responds to you, and you can't control that. That is not under your control. It's not your fault. It is what it is. At least you're trying, but there's a chance people don't respond. Another possibility is that even if they do respond, they're inconsistent. They respond today, they respond tomorrow, and then they take 4 or 5 days to respond, and then 2 or 3 weeks to respond, and then a month to respond, and then they just disappear. Also something you have no control over, and it happens all the fucking time. People are just inconsistent, or they disappear without explanation. It is what it is. Or you send somebody a message, they respond, you guys are fucking getting along, you know what I'm saying, making a little conversation, you know what I'm saying? But then you quickly realize this person is only making an effort when you are asking all the questions and carrying the conversation, making sure it doesn't die. You're always sending the first message. You're always initiating the interactions. And if you don't do any of those things, there will be no interaction. Meaning, they're only interested in what you can do for them. They're only interested in getting attention from you or help with your language from you or lessons from you, right? But they're not going to make an effort to get to know you or talk about stuff you find interesting or contact you first, right? Keep the conversation going. You have lazy, self-interested people. It is what it is. You also have people that are just not interested, which is kind of what I just said, isn't it? People are just not interested in other people. So they don't make any effort to get to know other people. More than happy to talk about themselves and answer your questions about themselves, but nothing more. And then you also have people that are just not interesting, right? There are some people out there that just don't fucking do anything. They don't have any interests, no hobbies. They don't have their own opinions. They don't want to really talk about anything in particular. They do nothing all day, every day, which means they have no life experience to share with you. They don't even know what they think about the majority of stuff they experience on a day-to-day basis. So they don't even have anything to talk about, you know? And so it's understandable if you don't find somebody like that interesting. It's understandable. And it is what it is. You can't control that. Even the best conversationalist cannot make a truly boring person become interesting. It's just, there's nothing to fucking work with there. There's nothing to work with. And you just gotta move on, right? So those things are not under your control. That's one half of the problem. But very rarely is that the problem for most people saying, I need friends to practice my English. Let's go to the other side of the fence. The real issue here. The real issue is that most people don't even try. The fact that people are coming to me still, even if they don't come to me, just saying still, there's nobody to practice English with, or I can't practice my English because I don't live in an English-speaking country. Just making that statement, to me, kind of communicates that you haven't even really made any effort to solve the issue, because a simple Google search will show you a laundry list of places you can go to practice your English with real people. Like that's why I said in the beginning, if I had just $1 fucking for every time somebody left a comment on my video saying, can you recommend an app for meeting people to practice English? There's nowhere to practice English. I mean, where am I supposed to find these people? The time that they took to write that fucking comment on my video, they could have taken and put that question into Google or ChatGPT, and it would have given them more options than I can give them. ChatGPT and Google have much more knowledge of the internet than I do, right? So I think it's fucking sheer laziness, bro. Sheer laziness. Nothing more. That is most people's problem. And I say that confidently, bro. Most people's problems, including me. All right. Again, this is not about condescending or trying to make you feel like shit or nothing like that, even though you do need some tough love right now. In most cases, our problem is that we're just fucking lazy. Not even willing to put in the work to solve our own problem. We just want to fucking pay a few dollars and have somebody else solve the problem for us. And what's even worse is most times these days, people don't even want to pay. They want everything done for them for free, you know? After people ask, well, where can I practice English with people? The next question, is it free? Because if it's not free, I'm not fucking paying for it. Lazy, cheap, and fucking greedy, you know? These qualities will be your fucking downfall. Take my word for it, bro. They will be your fucking downfall. So that's the first thing you gotta fucking fix. Stop being so goddamn lazy and search for the answers to your questions. Search for the solution to your problem. That's number one. But number two, even more of a problem is when you tell them where to find these people will get on the app and then make absolutely no effort to get to know other people, to maintain conversations. A lot of people will get onto the app or join a Discord server or whatever, and then expect other people to come to them and make all the conversation so that they don't have to make any effort or be interested or be interesting. They want people to talk to them. They have no interest in talking to other people, you know? This is the real issue. Because you can say, download HelloTalk, download Tandem, download Linkbee, join my Discord server, and then these people join and they never show up or interact or try to get to know other people or suggest conversation topics. If they get into a conversation, they're waiting for everybody else to talk and make the first move. This is the problem. Not that you don't have people to talk to, not that they don't exist, not that there's not places you can't find them. It's a lack of effort. It's a pure lack of effort, bro. That is it. Whether you want to hear that or not, my humble opinion, you need to hear that shit. And I'm talking directly to people who say shit like this. There's nowhere to practice English with. There's nobody to talk to. I don't live in an English-speaking country. Like, dog, it's 2023. Let's cut the bullshit. Let's cut the bullshit, all right? I'm going to lower my voice just to communicate. I'm not a threat. I'm not trying to be aggressive here. Let's talk fucking man to man. Man to woman, right? Whatever. Let's fucking cut the bullshit here, okay? The problem is not that there's nowhere to find people to talk to. The problem is you don't want to put in the fucking effort once you find them, all right? It's why you got to learn about the art of communication. You got to learn how to make conversation with people. And how do you do that? By practicing. And you're going to suck at first. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be uncomfortable. You are going to be boring or say things that don't make sense or say things that don't interest the other person. Whatever, bro. What the fuck ever. You just got to keep going and keep going. Have conversation after conversation after conversation and get better and better and better and better and better and better and better. All right? There are tons of YouTube channels and podcasts and books on the subject of communication, how to be more charismatic, how to express yourself more eloquently, how to learn more vocabulary. The resources are out there and most of them are fucking free, but you gotta put in the work and use them to your advantage. And then you gotta take all that theory, put it into practice. Until it's put into practice, it's just theory, and theory isn't very useful to you in practical situations. A conversation is a practical situation, right? So you just have to practice, bro. You might suck at making conversation now, but if you never practice, it's not going to get any better. Complaining about it isn't going to make it better. Continuing to scroll on your cell phone is not going to make it better. Watching Netflix is not going to make it better. Practicing is going to make it better, all right? You got to practice, man. You got to practice. So I think that for me, in my experience, in my many observations over the years, that's the main issue, is even if you give people on a silver fucking platter a place to meet people, people for them to talk to, even suggest topics for them to talk about, they still just won't make any effort to keep the conversation going. You know, they won't take they won't take responsibility for their part of the interaction and be interesting and, more importantly, interested in the person they're talking to. This is the issue. This is why I really don't talk too much about English, and I try to focus much more on communication, because you can know every word in the English language and still not know how to use them effectively to keep a conversation going, right? You got to focus on communication skills. And you have to practice your communication skills if you want them to get better. You have to stop thinking about yourself for a second and take interest in the person you're talking to. It is not hard to keep a person talking. I shouldn't say that. That's an oversimplification of everything I'm trying to communicate here. It's not complicated to keep a person talking. Let me say that. The basic tactics are very simple, you know? And I'm sure that's something I'll talk about in future episodes, but I'm just trying to communicate right now that what I'm really trying to say is it's not something that is impossible, okay? This is coming from a fucking introvert who doesn't even really like people like that. Somebody who is afraid to talk in public settings, afraid to talk to more than one person at a time, afraid of being judged, fucking socially anxious and awkward and uncomfortable in my skin. This is why I'm talking all this shit, because I'm not saying it just because it sounds good. I'm saying it because I have done and continue to do the work on my communication skills. And I've seen and felt and experienced the benefits. And I realized it wasn't other people that was the problem. It was fucking me. It was me. I wasn't doing good enough. I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't putting in enough effort. I wasn't studying the right things. I wasn't improving the right skills. And I was expecting the world to change for me as opposed to changing for the world. For lack of a better way of saying it, I really hope you get the point, you know? And that's what the problem is a lot of people are waiting for everything around them to change in order for them to feel comfortable. When it's the other fucking way around, bro. We have to change if we want the situation to change. Right? So if you're talking about conversations, communicating with people, if you want to have better interactions, you need to get better at interacting with other people. Nobody else can do that for you. And whatever other people say or do has nothing to do with you because you can't control that shit. All you can control is the effort and time and energy you put into it. You see what I'm saying? So enough, y'all. Enough. Fucking enough of this bullshit excuse. I don't have anyone to practice with, because you can download any of the 4 free apps I just told you about and send messages until your fucking thumbs get tired. Period. You can join our Discord server. When you subscribe on Patreon, you not only support this podcast, but you can join our community of actually fucking cool people that want to learn and grow. Shout out Francisco, Alejandra, among others. Shout out to y'all. I mean, like really cool people, man, that just want to make friends, practice English on a regular basis. You can find these people. But once you find them, you have to keep them. And you do that, especially like in a community environment. I really think language is best learned in a community setting. That's how you learned your first language, by the way. At home, at school, in the streets, talking to your parents, your grandparents, your cousins, your brothers and sisters, your boyfriends and girlfriends, your friends from school, your teachers, the bus driver, police officers, doctors, nurses. Just talking to people in a community that is your neighborhood or your city, right? That is how you learned your first language. That is how language has always been learned since the beginning of spoken language. That's how it's learned. So I think that there's no reason to fix something that isn't broken. Just keep doing the same shit. So get involved in some kind of community and then talk to those people as much as you can. So getting back to my point, if you're in a community setting, like instead of waiting for other people to get online and say, hey guys, let's have a voice chat. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this or that. You can be that person. That's why I'm saying you need to be the person that makes the first move. Get on this app or get on this server, join this community, and have shit that you are already interested in. This is part of what makes you an interesting person. It's having your own opinions and interests that you can share with other people. So when you get on one of these platforms or join a server, have stuff that you want to talk about, and then say, hey guys, let's talk about this. And again, there's no guarantee that people will be interested, but you can't control that. You got to focus on what you can control, showing up every day and at least giving people the option to join you for a conversation. And if they are willing to give you their time, make sure you don't fucking waste it. Have something to talk about. Take interest in them and what they think and how they feel and what they've been through. You know? Treat these people as if you're already friends. I think I talked about that in a previous episode. Tips for better language exchanges. If you haven't heard that episode already, go check it out. Because I talked about that before. Just treat them as if you're already friends. What do you normally do with friends? You talk shit, you make jokes, you share things that you saw on social media, you talk about the series you're watching, you talk about what's going on in your family or what happened with other friends or what you're doing next week. It's the same shit. It's the same shit. So, I don't know, man. I'm just saying enough is enough. We need to stop making these fucking cheap ass excuses when we have no right. We have no fucking right in 2023 to say we don't have access to people. You are probably on your phone from 2 to 6 hours a day doing nothing but consuming material made by other people. All you have to do is choose the right app and talk to people in real time as opposed to just consuming a bunch of shit. That's it. If you're consuming something, make sure it's beneficial. How to maintain a conversation, how to go from small talk to something deeper, how to start a conversation, how to end a conversation, how to be more charismatic, how to get somebody to talk longer than usual, how to ask better questions, how to make better statements. You can Google all those questions. You can type into ChatGPT. You can type it into fucking YouTube. I highly recommend the channel called Charisma on Command. That's a really good channel for learning a bit of it's like an online university for social skills, you know? And they put out free videos every single week that can at least get you started on the path of being a better communicator. I could recommend a ton of resources, but just start with that one. It's free, it's on YouTube, and they are fantastic videos. All right. But this is a skill you can learn. This is what I want you to take away. Not only do you already have all the places, all the apps that you need to find people, but the skill of talking to and interacting with people successfully and again, repetitively, right? Continuously, repeatedly, pick a fucking word. They're also online. Like the tools you need to get better at doing this, they're out there. The information is there. You just got to go and get it. And then most importantly, put it into practice. If you want to find and keep quality language exchange partners, you have to be interesting and, more importantly, interested in the person you're talking to. You have to have your own interests and opinions and experiences that you can talk about and share with other people. You have to be willing to help others learn your language, right? Let the conversation be about something other than yourself. But on the flip side, also learn how to talk about yourself. This is something I'm going to talk about in one of the next episodes, how to sound and how to be more interesting in English or any other language, because even if you have the best of intentions, you may just not know how to talk about yourself. So you give very short, basic answers that aren't very interesting, and the conversation just kind of dies because the other person might not be the best conversationalist. So if neither one of you knows how to take a boring conversation and make it interesting, the conversation is just going to die. You know? And this is why instead of focusing and obsessing so much on language, we as language teachers need to focus much more on the art of communication, because that is the only purpose of language anyway, is to communicate with other people. And communication is a skill. It's not like, oh, I just learned the nouns, verbs, and adjectives and I'm good to go. No, now you need to learn how to use them in various ways, to communicate in various ways, depending on the context, the person you're talking to, the country, the culture, the situation, whatever. It's a skill that you need to learn. And you can learn it, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. So I guess I'll get off my fucking soapbox and end this verbal ass kicking, because I feel like I've made my point. I've made the same point probably 4 or 5 times. The problem is not that there's nobody to practice English with. It's either you're not looking for them, or when you find them, you don't know how to keep them. In my experience, that's the problem. And although you can't control what other people do or how consistent they are or how interested they are, but you can make your best effort to be interesting and interested, and also be consistent, show up every day or every week, making yourself available to anybody else who is also available and consistent. You're never going to make progress or make friends or enjoy learning English until you learn how to do that. So it's in your best interest that you learn how to do that. All right. So let this episode be the fucking catalyst. Let today be the day that you download the apps, you make the profile, and you commit to sending just one message a day until you find somebody you like talking to. Once you find that person, just fucking one topic per day until you get comfortable talking to this person. Watch one video per day about the art of communication, and then one skill per week that you try to improve. Anything, bro. Just take baby steps. Take baby steps, but they need to be steps. You need to move forward every single day. All right? And that's it. That's all I got for you today, my friends. If you do got any questions or comments, leave them below. I guess on Spotify, you can click on the episode, scroll down to where it says, what did you think about this episode? Give me your feedback on this one. If you're subscribed on Patreon, supporting the podcast, much love to you. I really appreciate y'all. And you guys can let me know on Discord, what do you think about this topic? Because again, this is something that affects all language learners, not just people learning English. And it's the most common complaint about people wanting to go from, lower intermediate to proficient. I don't have anybody to practice with. And I just really think we need to have a few more discussions about why that is and the real solution to that problem. But hopefully I've done a decent job of explaining that in this episode. So I'm going to get out of here, my friends. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. This has been yet another episode of Real English Radio. I am your host, Tony Kaizen, and I will certainly talk to you soon. Peace.